Hello and welcome back everybody, AcronZL here, and welcome back to another video. So for this video, today we're going to be going over a prize showcase. We haven't had one of these in a little bit, but the one thing about this prize showcase is that there's actually quite a bit of stuff to go over. So I'll be going through everybody and their kits, and saying whether or not this is going to be worth your summon. Now, do keep in mind as well, at the end of this month, we're getting a Valentine's Day banner, and the month after will be 3.5 anniversary. So it's definitely going to be quite a rough couple days, well, month or so, 2 months. So definitely prepare your currency, because this is definitely going to be rough. So we're going over Valyx, Forrest, and Michael. So all these are going to be added into the game, and without further ado, let us just get started. Obviously standard pressure against stuff, but let's go over Valyx first, alright? So he's going to be a light axe, he's going to be an attack unit, alright? So the first skill, damage, inflicts paralysis and flash burn with about a 2.6 mod total. SP is a solid, I guess, and also just standard paralysis and flash burn. Nice, simple, and it's a dual affliction, which Light does not have yet. So already that's pretty damn good. Then we have the S2 damage, and it will dispel, and this looks to be about 1.8 followed by 1.7. So this is about a 3.6 or 3.5 mod, give or take. So pretty nice, pretty damn strong right there. Then we have standard defense co-op, and also we have team defense amp equals HP regen. So he's definitely going to be a tanky boy. He's definitely going to make sure everyone tanks. But then we move into the abilities, which really start to make him unique. We have Stalwart Warrior 2. So first of all, he will become Thor regardless, as per usual. He will also have a unique force strike that will draw enemies toward the user. Okay, sure. That could help with some crowd control if that were to exist for light content. In addition, grants immunity to knockback, permanently energizes the user, and when the user takes damage, it grants them a Defiant Spirit effect for 20 seconds. Now keep in mind, alright, this is directly baked into his kit. Curse of Nihility and Afflictions will not reset the user's energy level, nor will using skills. Alright? So this means you will always have an energy level of 5. No matter what you do, you can spam skills, you can have Curse of Nihility active, he will not lose his energy level. So this actually does slightly open up Thor to be used on him if you are low on dragons. You can use Thor on him. That is most definitely an option, because he becomes a permanent 95% strength dragon when he's on Valyx. That is very good. Finally, Thor at least has a little bit of usage. So now to move on with this kit, during a Defiant Spirit, damage dealt by the user's standard attacks and the area of effect are increased. After Defiant Spirit is granted, this really will not grant again for 5 seconds. So, if I were to guess, at a certain point, you can just literally have a Defiant Spirit up, like, all the time, I assume. You just have to be careful with it. That's a bad option. But, hey, that is still pretty solid right there. That could be really good on AI, because they do tend to base tanks and stuff, so that could be very strong, right? And also, restores 30% of damage taken during skills or attacks as HP. This effect also activates while charging skills or attacks and during the transformation sequence when shapeshifting. So he can heal himself as well. So yeah, you're meant to take damage and heal it back immediately. Stay energized, so on and so forth, right? He also has a dual res, which is really good. And this stuff here, when the user HP drops to 7%, grants the entire team a team defense amp with a maximum team amp level of 2, and a 1-use diversion shield that nullifies damage up to 40% of the user's max HP. This can stack with ordinary shields, and this does have a 30-second cooldown, meaning you are sadly tied to the 1 defense amp. So overall, with this kit, he's definitely meant to tank and hit hard. That's what he's meant to do. he tanks, hits hard, and heals it all back up. So overall, he might get usage in Legend Idless, mainly because of the fact that he'll be main as an AI with Process and Flash Burn, making him a pretty consistent person to have afflictions with, while you may Nyx and probably have a support unit. That could very easily be a thing. So I would say hold out on him personally, because we need a little more, right? We need a little bit more to see, and we also need to see him in proper action against Legend Idless. Is he strong? Yes. Is he needed? I would assume no. Because we also have a civilian Leaf existing as well that can paralyze just fine, and you can have Summer Shell do the flash stuff. And with Leaf, you can have bleeding on top of that. So don't really need Valyx, but however, he is still going to be a very strong option. So let's move on to the next person, going to be Forrest here, alright, or Phares, whatever. He's going to be a support unit of the Wind Lance attribute and weapon. So let's just dive right into this kit. So we have the S1 here, grants all teammates a shield, increase their water resistance, and increases their chances of inflicting afflictions. So immediately it will be a 50% of max HP shield, water res for 25 seconds, and success rate being 30 seconds, which can stack up to 3 times as well. Meaning everyone can have up to 120% affliction chance up. Really, really strong. Really good. So, and also, this person will have a Dragon Drive, which will become Punishment of Heaven, which will deal damage, as well as inflict poison and Storm Lash. In addition, it will deal bonus damage to targets with Victim of Science. Now, one thing to note here real quick, nothing in his kit mentions what Victim of Science does. So we're going to have to see what this will do before we can give a proper analysis on him. You will also dispel one buff and also remove Victim of Science. And this bonus damage will be increased against enemies inflicted with any affliction. I assume that's what Victim of Science does, but once again, we actually need to see it in order to properly set. And this mod, it's about 1.1k with initial 600 if it's bonus damage. So I would put that at about 1.7 mod, 1.8 give or take. So pretty good. 3.6 is a lance, so it will get it pretty consistently, I would say. Not bad at all, really good. Then we have Oath of Bonds, going to be the S2. Removes all afflictions from the entire team, grants them a team strength amp, and partially fills the user's Dragon Drive gauge. If the user has the Fatigue debuff, this skill will also remove it. We'll get to Fatigue shortly, don't worry about that. And also, in Dragon Drive, Uranus's Claw. I'm not giving you guys the satisfaction of saying the other version of this name. I'm not giving you the satisfaction of that. Don't even try it. Uranus's Claw will also grant a team strength amp. It will deal damage, and as well as extend the remaining time of any of the following afflictions inflicted on enemies by the fact by 15 seconds. It'll be Poison, Burn, Process, Frostbite, Storm Lash, Flash Burn, Shadow Blight, and Scorch Run, aka almost everything with the exception of Bleed, I think, and Bog. So it's whatever, all the important afflictions right now. Killed here. The remaining time these afflictions cannot be exceeded beyond their original duration, and after activating this extension will not activate again for the same target for 15 seconds. But this does mean you can still extend Poison, Burn, and Paralysis, which are tied to wait, no, you can't actually. Apologies on that. You actually cannot. You have to play very carefully, right? Yeah, you'll need to play incredibly carefully. Actually, wait. What's the Paralysis timer? I can check up here. Because I know Paralysis is worst case. 13 seconds. You cannot. Okay, and I think Poison says it here too. I'd like to double check yourself. 15 seconds. So you can actually time it with Poison on him, but any other shared skill affliction, you can't exactly do that, unfortunately. A 7.5 mod, so it's alright, I guess. Which will do keep in mind also, his team strength amp, it does have a max level of 1, And also, it will not have a cooldown in accordance to this. It might mention it later on. I like to make sure it does not mention it. So that means you do have the ability to spam amps with Phares, but however, you need someone that has a team amp of 3 and uses the team amp of 3 in order for you to fully maximize here. So that is definitely something to keep note of. I think Akasha fits under this category, so that can be very, very strong compared with Forrest. And you can still have like a Basilius and not in there as well in order to just abuse hit counts, over damage, maybe even Cecile as well. Really taking advantage of afflictions, damage, and dragons. It's going to be really, really good. So moving into co-abs, snare HP, and when you have no afflictions, you gain strength 6%, which is cool. It's pretty cool. So we have Uranus's Blessing 2. There is a countdown, but it's tied to the ability though. So grants the user a strength amp with a max level of 1 when the user inflicts an enemy with an affliction. This one is tied to the 8-second cooldown. The other one is not. But however, think of this like Quinn's pretty much, okay? To as of where you get to spam amps really, really easily. So that's nothing to be really that concerned about, in my opinion. You will get a Dragon Drive, 2 as of which the user's Force Strikes will fill their Dragon Drive gauge if they connect. Now, we do know this from data mines, okay? We know this from data mines. He will spam Force Strikes when in Dragon Drive. He will do nothing but Force Strikes. So more than likely, having Force Strikes in his Wimprint setup will be beneficial for him because that will overall increase his damage output. That's something to just at least keep in mind of. We will have to wait to see what he actually does in action. But once again, we know that from data mines. And when in Dragon Drive, you will also gain some effects. User stand attacks are changed and fill the user's Dragon Drive gauge if they connect. That's also very, very good, especially if you do manually control him. So we will have to see how much these stand attacks fill by to see if he's able to keep Dragon Drive as soon as he pops it. If it will, it'll be great. The user Force Strikes are changed and deal damage to multiple targets and enemies near those targets, and this will apply the Victim of Science effect. Once again, we do not know what this does. User strength is increased by 35%, it's very strong, and also use the user sword when they are hit by an attack that inflicts an affliction. This has a 10-second cooldown. Overall, pretty good. Pretty damn good. I would love to see what he does. I really, really want to see what he does here. Freeze Res, sure. This is good. Thirst for Life 2, alright? Reduces susceptibility to afflictions by 150% during Dragon Drive. This means once when you pop Dragon Drive, if you have Volk on him, it cancels out the negative affliction effect that Volk has. So, literally, you can run Volk free of charge. You can run Volk on him free of charge, no downsides in the slightest. So people like this is something we're going to have to keep an eye out for whenever we get other of the Aito dragons. Looking at you right now, Ciela. I'm looking at you right now. That's something we're going to have to see in action. But then also during Dragon Drive, when the user would take damage greater than the remaining HP, that damage is instead nullified. So in short, he has a crutch, right? And the Dragon Drive gauge is completely consumed. Damage from attacks that forcibly reduce the user's HP to 0 or deactivate Dragon Drive cannot be nullified in this way. Also, with the exception of damage dealt by afflictions, buffs, debuffs, and certain attacks, the user will be temporarily invulnerable to damage while this effect is being activated. So he in short has a mini revive mechanic, but it's not really a revive. So as of where he will disable Dragon Drive and not die if he were to take a hit that were to end it. Pretty interesting. I'll leave it at that. It's interesting. And also, when activated, this ability's damage nullification effect also removes all afflictions from the user and applies fatigue debuff to them for 60 seconds. During fatigue, the user cannot activate their Dragon Drive, and the Dragon Drive gauge will not be filled. So this means that once I get fatigue, you do want to try and get the second skill activated as soon as possible, because this will just remove fatigue, and you are then able to work back up to your Dragon Drive and start to abuse from there. But overall with him, Affliction, I would say God, but he's really damn good at Afflictions. Dragon Drive will just make him live and also output lots and lots of damage. He does have some supporty stuff, which is always very nice. But overall, he's definitely going to be a strong unit. His amp spamming especially will help out Wind. I do not know if he is meta or not, because we need to see more stuff with that, alright? We need to see a little bit more about his kit, how his AI works, especially if he could potentially be a broken AI unit. But obviously going to be built for Legend Iblis, so we're going to have to wait and see how well he performs. And we also need to see if other people can manage. We should be able to manage with Cecile as is and Leaf with not. That comp in of itself, that should be able to manage just fine, so I'm not that worried about anything. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But I do like him so far. I definitely do like him. I would love to see more of him. Definitely a very strong unit. So, moving on to Michael now. The final Archangel in the game. Finally here. So, first of all, he does keep Basilius' close quarters and ranged stuff, which as we know is pretty nice. So first of all, close quarters will inflict poison and grant an entire defense amp. Ranged combat will inflict Storm Lash and grant over damage to the entire team. That will have 103 minutes of 40% potency. Pretty good. That's pretty good. That's standard. It's not like what some of these others are. Akasha will still overtake him, but that is still really nice. He has initial wind strength 60%, and also Michael's favor too. It will extend the window being hit by an enemy. Okay. Let me say this. It will extend the combo counter resetting by 2.5 seconds, which is very, very good for Basilius. And also for every 15 hit combo, increase the user's strength by 3% up to 10 times. So that is additional 30% strength. I assume this is nihility proof. I'm assuming. Okay? That's what I'm assuming here. So he can become a 90% strength dragon with a combo extension. Okay. Obviously that's synced up, right? And also he'll grant winning adventurers in the team over damage based on 20% of the user's strength for 60 seconds at the start of the quest, and grants the user over damage based on 20% of their strength for 60 seconds when the combo counter resets. So in addition, regardless of attunement, one shapeshifted, Michael will create combat zones around the user and grants them one of two styles, close or ranged. And that is honestly about it. Like it mentions this, but we kind of already figured that from a skill. So overall for Michael, not meta. Right? Immediately not meta, because like Wind already has pretty damn stacked dragons. We have Fudo Mio, we have Volk, we have a Reborn. I almost said Reborn Nidhogg. We have Reborn Zephyr there. Like those three of them in of themselves, they are pretty damn strong. But if you do have Basilius, you can use Michael. He is obviously created for a Basilius, and is still pretty strong. Not as strong as other people, obviously, but he can most definitely get by. And honestly, this counter, this is going to benefit him greatly. But overall, he's never going to be a back burner unit. Absolutely. But hey, just if you like him, just if you're on Basilius, hey, you're more than welcome to go ahead and do it. So it works. But that's going to be it for this video. I would recommend you guys skip this banner personally. unless if you're in desperate need of someone who can do poison afflictions, because right now we do have a lot of Storm Lash right now, so having a general pool you can just outright pull and not worry about omnisighting the that can poison is going to be pretty good, and also Valyx is going to be a strong AI DPS option. So just if you are lacking those, you can summon, but I would wait till Valentine's Day or 3.5 anniversary, because those are both going to have limited characters and potentially really strong characters in there. So I recommend saving for those. You don't need these. You don't need clear legendary lists like at all. Just so you want to flex, sure, go for that day one clear, but you don't need it. So until next time, I'll see you all later, where once again I do have a lot more videos, and I'll try something with these. I'm not pulling, but I'm going to try and do a little different of a video here. So until next time, see ya.